Thank you, Chair. In an email exchange, Brookfield was asking why it should appear before the committee, given the topic of our study and reviewing the Conflict of Interest Act. I wanted to specify what our mandate is. We need to review whether or not to extend the scope of the legislation. We want to increase transparency, prevent conflicts of interest, avoid potential or apparent conflicts of interest, regulate having assets in a tax haven by public office holders, limit the use of blind trusts. And so as soon as we hear from witnesses who tell us that Brookfield is a champion of tax evasion, and we know that the Prime Minister has interests in Brookfield, you'll understand why your presence here is mandatory.
Réponse courte.
Short answer, please.
The spirit in which...
Monsieur le Président, time out. J'apprécierais que M. Bieber...
I would like for Mr. Bieber to keep his earpiece on. Somebody should show him how to wear it, because it'll be complicated if he has to put it down every time and put it back on.
May not look good on TV, but I suggest that maybe you put your earpiece on so that you can hear the entirety of the question and any comments that come your way, rather than, it's just easier that way. I do the same thing sometimes. So
it was suggested to me that I might wind up hearing myself in my ear. And
you could, and at that point you can take it off, but just make sure for the entirety of the question that you keep it on for the comments.
Thank you. I apologize.
Monsieur Thériault, j'ai arrêté le temps, mais...
Mr. Thériault, I did stop your time. You asked a question and made a statement to Mr. Bieber. Can he respond? Mr. Bieber.
Comment, and I'll start the clock right now. Thank you.
I was simply going to say that we respect the spirit in which this committee is undertaking its work. First and foremost, the reports that you've heard are completely false. I've tried to explain in response to some of the questions that we've already received that Brookfield pays all taxes that are applicable, and we have demonstrated systems in place and structures in place to do that, and we do want to be helpful in your quest to assess whether or not your current rules apply effectively.
Donc, vous nous dites ici que
So you're saying that Brookfield does not do tax avoidance, which is completely legal. That's not something that you do? You don't do any kind of avoidance? Not tax evasion, tax avoidance. So what you're saying today is that Brookfield does not practice any kind of tax avoidance. Yes or no?
We practice tax planning the way any other company practices tax planning.
Je comprends que vous ne voulez pas utiliser le terme...
I understand that you don't want to talk about tax avoidance, which is a technical term, and I understand that you're not the only ones who do tax avoidance. We understand that it is completely legal, but we are looking into this because it's not because something is legal that it is morally acceptable. There's a study by the Canadian Revenue Agency, and you must understand our concern, and it shows that the federal government is missing out on $26 billion in taxes every year. And for the category of tax avoidance, It's about $3 billion per year, which is not insignificant. And so that's why I would like for us to look at the minimum global tax. How much time do I have left, Chair? 1 minute, 40 seconds, Mr. Thériault. What I would like to know is whether or not Brookfield benefits from from Mr. Carney's statement where they do not have to pay the global minimum tax.
No, to the best of my knowledge, we are subject to all those rules in every jurisdiction in which we operate.
Attendez là. À ma connaissance, ça veut dire quoi?
What does that mean to my knowledge? Does that mean that it's possible but you're not aware of it?
It would be unlikely, but I did not...
Peu probable? Ça veut dire
Unlikely? What does that mean?
vous n'êtes pas en mesure de répondre à cette question.
Can you not respond to the question today?
Say that Brookfield complies with all laws across the globe relating to tax.
Monsieur Carney,
Mr. Carney, 6 months before an OECD decision to exclude the United States from the global minimum tax, even though Canada had put that measure in place, but before that, he moved headquarters to New York. 6 months later, he says American businesses are not subject to that global minimum tax. And you're saying that you're not benefiting from that. Is that what you're saying? That you're not benefiting from it?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
And we didn't move anything.
Okay.
And I'd love the opportunity
alors
to talk
pourquoi
to
le faire?
No, that's it. Thank you. You may get the opportunity, Mr. Bieber. It won't be from me. It may be from some other members of the committee. We're going to...
Thank you, Chair. Mr. Bieber, tax avoidance is common practice.
Fiscal, c'est une pratique.
Tax avoidance is a common practice.
Brookfield, and there is no tax avoidance at Brookfield.
Vous connaissez l'OCDE?
You know
Si
the
vous connaissez
OECD.
l'OCDE,
If you know the OECD, and the OECD, in order to counter tax avoidance globally, and they decide at the G20 to implement a policy for businesses to pay a global minimum tax of 15% in order to avoid tax avoidance, which allows them to not pay their fair share. Well, it's because tax avoidance exists. If you're being transparent today, you can't say that you're only responding for Brookfield. The OECD decided to implement a minimum global tax, and you can't say that it's not only for Brookfield. That is a question for you.
I'm not an expert in tax policy. I'm aware of the global minimum tax.
excusez-moi,
I'm going to cut you off. I'm quite surprised. Brookfield insisted on sending you today because they said that you were an expert and that you would be able to respond to all of our questions. You don't need to be an expert to understand the OECD and what they're trying to do, what they're trying to resolve as a global issue. I have a lot of reservations regarding how you're testifying today. I believe that you are avoiding to respond to questions. So I talked about tax avoidance, and now you're avoiding the questions. I'm quite disappointed. I was expecting more. How much time do I have left, Chair? 1 minute, 30 seconds. 2 minutes and 30 seconds. You've said, without a shadow of a doubt, that the measure taken by the OECD and that your change of designation to the United States has not brought any advantages to you and did not allow you to be excluded from the global minimum tax. You're saying that Brookfield is paying its global minimum tax of 15%.
Paying all applicable taxes in every jurisdiction, including any jurisdictions that were required to implement a global minimum tax. And Mr. Theriault, I will say as well that the reason why the change had no impact on Brookfield is because Brookfield Asset Management Limited, both before and after the designation, remained a British Columbia company and therefore taxpayer in Canada.
Non, je répète ma question.
I'm going to repeat my question because you're not answering it. Does Brookfield pay its global minimum tax of 15%?
On paye tous nos impôts.
You're saying that you pay all of your taxes. I'm asking you the question, are you paying the global minimum tax of 15%?
Every jurisdiction where it applies.
Merci.
Thank you.